Hey everybody, let's do this. I'm totally off. It's okay. It is December the 7th, 2021, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I am Gerissar, a PvP Padawan. Indeed. Hey! Right on cue. It's like you've listened to us before. Maybe once or twice. Well, hey, Barndoor, welcome to the show. First and foremost, okay, in case nobody knows who you are, walk us through it. Who is Barndoor? Who is that wonderfully bearded, ginger-haired man? Indeed.
More than anything else is that I just love to give back to the community. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And I just realized as you were saying that the little bar wasn't moving. So I fixed it. I fixed it.
Did I do something wrong?
No. It was all on me. It was all in. Apparently, I'm not just a PvP Padawan. I'm also a content creator Padawan.
Gerissar heard the word warrior and he turned you off. He was like, I can't have this, guys.
Yeah.
He's
Demon
been
Hunter
executed
and Warrior.
too many
Screw
times.
this guy.
It's okay.
Get him out of here.
It's payback for the hunt one shots.
That's
Indeed. Yes. Hey, yeah. All those one shots you did to me when we were screwing around in the BGs that time. Oh man, that was horrible. All right. So all those people that are listening live, I appreciate you being here. I am sorry. I actually don't want to redo that because but how is this? We're recording it in the background, so I actually have a different way that this is all done. So all you have to do is listen to that first few minutes in the audio, and you should be good. You'll be able to hear everything that Barn just said about himself, and just why he's so awesome. But in the meantime, I have to ask. Actually, I'm going to start with you, Big. What have you been up to the past 2 weeks?
Well, I finally got internet, and I haven't been on the podcast for, I don't know, 2 or 3 episodes because I didn't have internet for the longest time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I finally got that sorted, which was a pain in the behind. But lately, and wow, actually, I played on the PTR yesterday with Venrukis. He kind of hosted an impromptu. I guess he didn't really host it, but he requested that people queue up for the solo skirmish on the PTR, so I did that yesterday. That was really fun. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Still doing my normal things, making videos, nice. Making very smart posts on Twitter, of course. And so that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Sounds good. I have to ask, actually, to you, Barn, have you been on the PTR? Did you check out that solo queue brawl that they put in?
I haven't had a chance. It's downloaded. I've got it ready to go. I just haven't had a chance to log in. I've had a bunch of other stuff I've been dealing with in the past day or two. But I do plan to log in, and I really want to check out that solo queue.
Nice. You just gonna log in by yourself and pray that there's some other people there? Or are you gonna plan a little something? Get a few other people.
I mean, I'm sure I can get a couple people to log in with me. I know I can probably grab a couple of the Posi-Vibes if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if anything, I really just wanted to log in by myself. That's the whole point of solo queue, right? Like you're playing it by yourself. I wanted to feel what it's going to be like for it. If that comes in, if solo queue becomes a thing, okay, I don't know anybody. Let me press Q and see what happens. Right. That's one thing that I wanted to do.
Okay. I will say, understanding that is the premise. It's also PTR, so instead of millions of people logged on, it's it's tens. All right. Well, other than you not queuing into the PTR. What have you been up to those last 2 weeks, buddy?
Well, last 2 weeks, I just got done hosting a tournament.
Right.
I've been, oh man, I've been up to a lot of things. We've been streaming a lot, talking with the guys, dealing with a lot of stuff, all Posi-Vibe related. We can probably get to that here in a little bit. I won't jump ahead here, but yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of that, dealing with the stream team, dealing with streaming myself, trying to create YouTube videos, and for the most part, trying to do my best to stay regular, like keep the work-life balance a thing, right? Being able to hit the gym, being able to, do my content and stuff, and then be able to sleep at a regular time. That's been the hardest thing to keep up.
Yeah, I think that's always the hardest thing. Is I feel like sleep is the first thing that we let go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I can sacrifice an hour. I can sacrifice an hour. Next thing you know, it's like, well, it's like that whole meme of from the Fast and the Furious where it's like just one more game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay. I can stay up, I can stay up here, and then I can wake up early, and then you realize you got 4 hours of sleep and you feel like crap the next day, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe less dry shots of G Fuel.
We call them dry scoops, Gerissar.
Dry scoops. Dry shots. What am I thinking? Well, I'll say I have not been taking any dry scoops or dry shots of G Fuel. But
you should try it.
Oh no, dear God, no. That's right. I put that right up there with drinking a whole bottle of Aunt Jemima's or something like that in some sort of syrup. Like no, no, thank you, no, thank you. Yeah, just in case everybody didn't know, up here in Canada, although we do like maple syrup, we don't just drink it like a liqueur or something. We don't just drink like a whole jug of it. That doesn't actually. Well, some people do that. I don't. Anyways, yeah. So I've kind of given up on the PvP for a while and started doing Mythic Pluses. So I got my prop pally out there, did some Mythic Pluses, did a few, raised the keys. I'll admit, I just because I don't want to fail, so I spent a lot of time last week watching videos, studying what I needed to do as a tank in dungeons, just so that I was prepared for that. And just like always, though, you're never ever really prepared. I went in there. There was some white fest. Not gonna lie, it was it was fun. It was.
Can I ask what level was the key?
Plus 3. I'm only like 210 geared.
Hey man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tanking is difficult though. Like especially if it's your first time, like it's a big obligation. Like I would definitely do that too. I would look up all the guides. I don't even know the dungeons. I'm very lazy when it comes to WoW. So like if you threw me in a mythic and said go, I wouldn't know. I'd be like, where? Like what direction? Tell me, lead me. That's
I've done all of 2 Mythic Pluses this expansion, so
yeah,
you got me there.
Well, I have to, it's challenging. It's a whole different level of challenge. I have to admit, I haven't been real. I think, what was it? The last time I really did dungeons was maybe Legion. Maybe even I know I didn't really do them during BFA. I might have even skipped Legion. So maybe WAD was like last time I actually really did dungeons and raiding.
WAD had the challenge modes. No, I remember that. Both WAD and MOP had the challenge modes, and you got like gold or silver.
Yeah,
because I remember I got the all gold challenge modes in WAD only because it came with a mount and special like weapon appearances and stuff.
Yeah. No, they definitely dangled a whole bunch of little carrots to have people do them, and that is just yeah, like I said, hopping back onto it and then going into the Mythic Pluses. I'm still because I geared so quickly, I wasn't chunking through the normals and the heroics to get to the mythics. It was just like, boom, a bunch of Korthia gear. All right,
jump right in.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not comfortable doing that. So like I said, a little slow, but It was good. Some really good people I met in the dungeons. Just hey, be patient. I'm still learning. People giving me a bunch of tips along the way. It was really, really fun.
Nice.
So yeah, but I think why don't we roll on into the need, greed, and pass and see what Big has for us as soon as I know where to click the bumper. Oh, there it is.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
All right, there we go. Hey, Big, what do you got for us today for the need, greed, and pass segment?
Okay, so I decided to choose something battleground related. So need, greed, pass. Basically, I'm going to give you a question and 3 options, and you're going to choose your favorite option. You're going to need your second favorite. You're going to greed, and if you hate something, you're going to pass on it. So you have to assign a role to each one of the responses. So with that in mind, say Blizzard eliminated every BG in the game, every RBG in the game except for one. So you can only play one RBG for the rest of your life, and you have 3 options. And I didn't know how to choose these options, so I just went with the original 3 RBGs. So you either have Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, and Eye of the Storm. So you can only play one of those for the rest of your life in WoW. And so what would you choose? Would you choose Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, or Eye of the Storm? So you're going to need one, greed one, and pass on one.
Sorry, I'm laughing at chat. Somebody immediately said, Gilneas, hands down. No, never mind.
Too bad it's not one of the options.
Yeah. So we'll go with Barndoor first. So you have to choose either Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, or Eye of the Storm to need, greed, and then the other one is going to be a pass.
Well, I mean, it's hard, but I know what my answer is, right? I'm going to need the Warsong Gulch. Right, Warsong Gulch is my favorite. Warsong Gulch and Twin Peaks. I like Twin Peaks a little bit better, but like they capture the flag aspect of rated battlegrounds is my favorite. So, and it may have to do with the classes that I play, Demon Hunter and Warrior. It's just it feels one's offense, one's defense, but it's just I know those strats in and out, right? And like when we held our tournament and or when we not held our tournament, when we competed in both G Fuel tournaments, our specialty maps were always flag maps, right? We love the flag maps. So need on the Warsong, greed on Eye of the Storm. Greed on Eye of the Storm because I do like Eye of the Storm, and it's so fun in the aspect that you can knock people off of the middle and there's bases, but there's also a team fight. It's very objective based, right? And I just love, as a Vengeance Demon Hunter, being able to just run around the map, create pressure where there shouldn't be pressure, and then also being able to throw people off the side of the map is pretty fun. And Arathi Basin is definitely going to be my pass. Not that I don't like Arathi Basin, but Arathi Basin, I feel like sometimes if you're losing and you're gonna lose, it's not like a war song where they get that cap and then it's done, or like Eye of the Storm where they get the 4 cap, and no, even if they get a 5 cap on you on Arathi Basin, it still takes like 2 minutes, and it's just like sitting around waiting on the enemy team to just hurry up and win, right? And but it does give you a chance to come back. So therefore, I like it sometimes, but as far as like need, greed, pass, need Warsong, greed, Eye of the Storm, pass on Arathi Basin.
I like it. I like the fact that you named Eye of the Storm for knocking people off the center when that doesn't exist in rated. That's only in the randos.
No,
it definitely
you can do it.
Rated.
You can still do it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to. There are pillars up, right? Yeah. So there are pillars up around, but there's gaps in those pillars, and when you're running in, there's angles, like, and that's what a lot of high end like teams will really like work around. If you step 1 foot into that gap where the enemy team sees that you can get knocked, you're getting stunned and you're getting knocked. Huh? Yeah.
All right. I guess I'm just so used to seeing like almost a surrounded section. Like, yeah, okay, it's it's pretty small slits, but yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna counter you, and I'm gonna pick. I'm going to need Arathi Basin. I'm going to greed Warsong Gulch, and I'm going to pass on Eye of the Storm. So Arathi Basin, I do like the resource gathering maps a little bit more, just because it does allow for a bit more counterplay, not just running past a team hoping you're able to pass them with a flag, and then just waiting for some stacks before you can basically one shot a flag carrier and then cap it. So I find it with Arathi Basin, yeah, sure, it takes a little while if you get 5 capped. Not that you ever really should, but I feel that it at least allows for some counterplay, where if you do lose one of the nodes and the other team gets a little bit of advantage, you at least have a chance to come back. Much more so than some of the other resource maps, like Battle for Gilneas, which is like if you lose that third node or that second, if you don't have the 2 node advantage, you might as well just quit the map and come back another time. And then Warsong Gulch, I mean, it's a classic flag map. Love it. Eye of the Storm, I do enjoy it. But yeah, if you have to pass on something, I'll pass on it. If anything, just because it's not really one of the original classics, because it didn't show up till Burning Crusade. Right? But how about you, Big? Yeah. What are your choices?
My choices are actually the same as Barndoor. So I think Warsong Gulch is the best like map in any video game. Like I think it's the best game mode. That Capture the Flag is the best game mode in any game I've ever played, and I think Warsong Gulch is like the pinnacle of like WoW PvP. If I had to like choose something to represent WoW PvP, it'd be Warsong Gulch, 100%. It's just really fun. So and then I'm gonna greed on Eye of the Storm as well. I think Eye is really fun, and I like Eye because it feels kind of condensed. Like all the action kind of happens within a very small space. Like the bases are pretty close to mid, and so like everything is just really accessible. And for the opposite reason, that's why I don't like Arathi Basin, because everything is so far away that it is like truly the dampener map of like RBGs. Like the game, yeah, even when you're winning, it feels kind of terrible sometimes, just because like, if you only have a 1 base advantage, it's super slow. And, if you're stuck, you can be stuck defending a base all game on Arathi Basin, and, no one touches it. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the node maps as much, but yeah, I think just the fact that it can last so long is why I typically don't like it.
Fair enough. Well,
Gerissar. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, do your part.
No, I was gonna say on your point about Gilneas, there's a lot of teams that have now that like they do the math and they know at exactly what point they don't win with getting 2 bases. And if you get up like 1,200, 1,200 to their like 700, they'll just stop playing the game, because it doesn't matter if they get the second, right? And so, and the same thing on a lot of these other maps, like on Arathi Basin and on Deepwind Gorge, like these teams, they have add-ons and they can do the math and figure out like, hey, at this point, we don't win with 3 bases. We need 4 or 5 bases to win. We're just going to stop playing.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean,
yeah, but I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sorry.
No. It's a good point. I mean, there's people that do know those exact breakpoints and cutoffs of when they can win or when they can't. Just like there's teams where it's like, okay, oh no, they took that other node. That was okay. They need a 4 cap in order to, like, we're still okay, guys. Just tap out. Just keep playing the map. All right. But I am going to remind everybody back home. So those that are listening live in chat, you can play along with that, and those that are sitting at home, are sitting at work, or in the car ride doing a commute, you can also play Need, Greed, and Pass. Just head on over to the Warcraft Radio Discord, drop into the Technically PvP channel there, and you can let us know what you think of between Eye of the Storm, Warsong Gulch, and Arathi Basin. But in the meantime, while everybody else is doing that, why don't we take a look at the upcoming WoW PvP events?
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
Yeah, get in there and fight. Dang it, Bobby. All right. First and foremost, we always talk about this one, Dalaran Gaming. Everyone as well as hosting his 5v5 1v1 duels. Always a fun time. So keep an eye out, twitter.com/Dalaran_rogue, or just go over to his YouTube channel and give us a subscribe, and you'll get an alert every time he goes live and does everything else that he does. Other one, Flark is hosting another tournament this Saturday on December the 11th. So that if nobody has done that one or doesn't know about it, it's a really fun solo queue. You queue up, and he then randomizes the teams. He has this really neat algorithm, and so you can be 1,500, you could be 2,400, doesn't matter. He'll even out the teams. You might end up being paired with an 1,800 player. You may be in tiered up, a 2,400 player in your teammate, and then you just go for it and try to win. And I see your head bobbing there, Barn. You've played in that a couple times, I think.
I've won that. Yeah, it's actually really fun. It's fun because let me tell you what, I got paired up with two, pretty decent but maybe like lower XP players who they just needed a little bit of coaching, and like they were right there. But we ended up in the grand finals against, if you know, Dilbar, right? Yep. So Dilbar, right, an AWC competitor, like he's got Clark has people like this showing up competing in his tournament, and like he gets maybe he's really high experience, so he's going to get matched up with somebody else, but he's doing his best to coach, and then I'm doing my best to keep my team there, and it's fun time. It really is a fun time.
That's awesome. I haven't competed. I've watched them though, and just watching it is an absolute blast as well. Cheering on your favorite player, and like you said, you get to know some of the upcoming. You get to know these people that are still learning but still trying. So, So I think, Big. I just do you want to do the next one there?
Yeah. So it looks like Oasis is hosting a 2v2 tournament, the Oasis Winter Brawl. And signups are open. You can find that on the Oasis WoW Twitter. I think they're also hosting a Mythic tournament. Right, or did that already happen? I'm not sure.
I think that just it just finished, or I know the last couple days it was going.
Yeah, it happened on the weekend. It just ended on Sunday. So.
Okay.
That was the Keystone Builders. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the news later.
Okay, yeah. So Oasis WoW is holding a 2v2 tournament. Yeah, 2v2 DPS tournament. So head over to Oasis_WoW on Twitter to get more information about that.
Indeed. And as far as I understand, that's also a solo queue. So you sign up, and the admins are then going to take a look at your character, your experience, and all that, and tee you up with similar. Well, not similar. Similar to Flark, I guess they're going to try to do the balancing of teams and try to set up so everybody has a chance at winning. Then also, we talked about this wild card or the wild PvP community a little while ago. There's a person there named Greystone, and he was starting to do some tournament hosting as well. So he's going to be hosting a 3v3 arena tournament on the 18th of December, and I'm going to have the link for the Discord in the show notes. But this one, he has some really, really fun ideas. Like I think the last one, it was a Russian roulette version. So every time you win, so you go into a match, it was like single elimination, whatever, and then you'd be paired up with like some random player, and then the next time you go up, you'd be paired up with another random player. So you might be fighting against the person you just won with the last time around. It was kind of a cool idea. So not sure if that's what he's doing here. I honestly haven't really had a chance to look into it, but I know they're planning a whole bunch of other stuff winter wise. So there's like a transmog contest and a few other things. And last but not least, there is the Great Push number 2, which the time trials just finished on the Proving Grounds, and the final teams have been decided upon, and that is happening this weekend from the 10th to the 12th. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure if it's going to be on YouTube or if it's going to be on Twitch, actually, and they just announced it too. I'll have to check it out later. But hey, unless somebody in Twitch chat, if you guys are paying attention and let us know.
I think all their Mythic, so it's the Mythic Plus and the AWC, like those specific, like the MDI, because I think this falls under MDI, doesn't it? The Great Push 2, does it?
No, I think it's one off. I think. Oh,
so if it doesn't fall under either of those two categories, I know they're allowed to host it on Twitch.
Yeah, and I just found the announcement. They are going to host it on YouTube and on Twitch, so they're going to dual stream it. Nice. All right. Well, on that, I'm going to put that window away so I can actually see what else is going on. So that is all I'm aware of for any events. Again, if anybody is aware of anything else, let us know, and we'll happily give it a shout out on show. But now that we've gotten through that little stuff, I want to get into the subject analysis and start picking Barndoor's brain here. Barndoor.
Everybody calls me Barn Dad because I happen to have the best dad jokes in all of WoW.
Does anybody really have the best dad jokes? I mean, aren't all dad jokes bad to begin with?
Well, you would know that mine were the best because it's just apparent.
That. Yeah, okay, you got me there.
An imaginary loading bar just like appeared above that. Like, spinning for a second.
Yeah, but no, we got some Barn Dads in the chat over there. Yep, everybody in my community, they always call me Barn Dad because they say I have dad jokes. Well, I tell them I have the funniest jokes there is. So
that one was actually pretty good. It got a smile on my face. All right, let's do the bumper and get into this.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
I'm still laughing. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, so hey, yeah, we're here. Barndoor. Like I said, you're a content creator, you're a streamer. You unfortunately play Demon Hunter and Warrior. Hopefully you'll see the light and move on to, or they'll get nerfed to the ground and you'll have to switch over to some other OP flavor of the month. But in the meantime.
Okay.
If you didn't see that coming, you should have expected it. But
it's all good.
I'm just jealous. No, seriously though. So you've been streaming. How many years have you been streaming now? Because you've been building your brand for a while.
So I've been building it for a little bit. I think it's hard for me to say exactly how long. I want to say 2 years, but I know my longest sub on Twitch is hitting the 20-month mark. So I think we're around 2 years, but I've also had breaks, so it's hard to I would say 2 years, but I wouldn't say consistently 2 years,
All right.
And then my YouTube was going on for a little bit before. My YouTube's been going on for years before that.
Okay. All right. So making videos, but not necessarily live streaming. Now live streaming, doing the whole. And I know you were trying really hard to do the full-time streamer thing.
Yes.
And that, I have to ask though, how has that been going? Especially with the pandemic and this past year with the ripples of lawsuit and everything. How has that been going for you?
So it's been throughout my whole streaming career, it's been kind of on and off. Now, when the pandemic first hit, you would think everything would, take a back seat and streaming would die down. But actually, you can ask a lot of content creators. They really saw a boom when in March of 2020, March, April, May, those timeframes where everybody was just inside all the time. That was really where all of my channels started to take off. Because I had already been streaming and I already been doing stuff before that, but it really, I turned into a 70 viewer Andy to a 300 viewer Andy, just seemingly overnight is what it felt like. And so the start of the pandemic, it was good. Everything was booming. My YouTube was booming. And I was able to do, personally live the dream, right? I was able to be a full-time streamer. And till it kind of like, it was good until it wasn't, right? If you know anything about streaming and content creation, the money, it goes up and it goes down, right?
Yeah.
And so when it goes
Nothing's
up, it's really
consistent.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it goes up, it's really good. I was full-time streaming. I was able to pay all the bills, put money back, do everything I need to do. But then when it wasn't good, it wasn't good, right? I've got to dip into savings. I've got to, still got to pay bills because rent money doesn't, rent doesn't care whether it's a good month or it's a bad month, right? Rent's rent. But so for months and months, I was full-time. And then I had to go part-time, and right when 9.1 hit, I was able to have a big upswing, like right around the patch, and I was able to hit 9.1. Yeah, not like when the season 2 came out. Sorry.
Yeah, so 9.1.
But yeah, so not when 9.1 came out, I was able to go back into full-time streaming.
Cool.
Right, so it's been on, it's been off, and so I've been full-time streaming for a little bit, but right about now is where I'm gonna, because of the lawsuit and this kind of stale content with Blizzard. It's been months and months since we've had like content. Just as far as the viewership on Twitch and the way everything goes, it's an up and it's a down, like we talked about it. So I was full-time, then I had to step back. Then I was full-time again, and now coming up here soon, I think I am going to have to step back to part-time. But I still plan to, this is the dream, right? So if I can go back to full-time, and I'm thinking maybe next patch things will pick up, maybe next expansion things will pick up as well. And I mean, I'm still going to keep pushing, right? Me and my community, we're still going to keep pushing to make the dream the dream. But, if we got to take a step back in order to take a step forward, then that's what we do.
It sounds well, and I think that's the thing with streaming. Everybody needs to be aware of is that nothing happens really overnight. It's just always a grind. It's always a steady grind, and with that is just like life. Some days you have to take a step back to move forward, right? So you have to be flexible that way. Now you mentioned community a few times there. And you've said this, I don't know how many times, be it when you're on the tournament, playing, when you're on your stream playing, in your Discord, mentioning this Posi-Vibes community. So, how tell us about that. How did that start? Where did that come from? And what? I know you just made a big announcement about that. So let us know, like, where did this come from, and where is it at now?
Well, Posi-Vibes, right? Our big announcement is that now we're an official stream team, right? And but backing up from that, where did this start? This really started from I don't know how to say it without kind of sounding a little bit cliche, but it started from a mindset, right? Started from a mindset that there's so much like elitism and a little bit, not so much today, but before there was like some cheating and elitism and just a lack of respect amongst a lot of gamers. And I'm talking LFG, I'm talking when you're in RBGs, when you're in Arena, when you're basically trying to play games with other gamers, there's so many problems. And especially, now this is prevalent in every game, but especially in World of Warcraft that we've noticed. And again, like the three things that come to mind are like, there used to be a big cheating back in MoP and WoD. It was a lot more prevalent than it is now, but like exploits still exist. Elitism, right? I don't want you in my group. Yeah, it's a 1600 YOLO group, but I don't want you in my group unless you can link me a gladiator title, right? And basically just a lack of respect amongst fellow gamers. We're all here. We all pay $15 a month to play WoW. We're all, this might be some people's escape. That they maybe just got yelled at all day. They come home and nobody wants to join an LFG to try to have fun, try to unwind, try to, escape into the game and get yelled at again, right?
Yeah.
And so So it created a whole culture of toxicity. And so myself and then the fellow leaders here with Posi-Vibes, like, we noticed this culture of toxicity, and it's also has a big effect on player participation. New players don't want to get into something that's just super toxic for new players, right? And so it's a community that's really shooting, or it's a toxic culture that's really shooting itself into the foot, and is making sure nobody else joins into this niche of the game, which is RBGs, or it spills into arena as well. And I in a lot of ways it's very prevalent in arena too. But where Posi-Vibes come from is there's a group of us, right? Right now it's myself, my boy Cac, my boy Easy Game as well, and Dean. And we're kind of just fed up with this toxic culture. And we've all been there, done that. We got our glad titles, we got our heroes. We've got Cac's got 4 rank 1s. He's been at the top of the arena ladder, right? And then we've all been dealing at the come up through LFG, having to fight our way through this whole grind. And we're just kind of fed up with how toxic it is. And where Posi-Vibes comes from is we don't want other people to have to deal with that toxicity. We want people to, if they queue up for their RBG, they can learn, right? Yes, maybe you lost your base to a rogue. Instead of kicking you from the group, calling you a loser, calling you every name in the book, how about I teach you how to not lose your base to that rogue, right? And because as leaders, we had to learn it the hard way, right? Yeah. Nobody taught us these things. I remember, right? I'm not a gladiator right now. I didn't get 2,700 because I just woke up and I got 2,700. I got 2,700 because I woke up to 7 or 8 duelist seasons in a row. And before that, I couldn't even make duelist, right? We had to grind our way there, and it was toxic along the way. Yep. And so we don't want other new players to have to deal with this toxicity, right? And basically, overall, it's a way to fix. It's a way to fix and promote positivity from all the way from the top of the ladder down, right? Nice. So it's a long-winded answer there, but I think you get what I'm saying.
No, that's a good answer. I think. It wasn't an easy question. It requires some explanation, and so I think you did a really good job there.
Yeah. As far as so that's where we come from. That's where Posi-Vibes, the idea right now. We've got whoever's idea it was to call it Posi-Vibes. The mindset has always been there, right? We all came together because we were like-minded individuals who wanted to focus on the positivity of growing through RBGs and growing through RBGs and arenas.
I think too, just to add to that is, I've had various experiences with all sorts of people in RBGs for a really long time now. I've been playing WoW since vanilla, so I got to play in some of the earliest RBGs, yada yada yada. But I think there's always too this kind of misconception that all RPG players are toxic, and I don't think that's far from the case. In fact, some of my best experiences in WoW have been with RPG players. There's certainly bad actors in the scene, right? There's people who are jerks, no doubt about that. But it's it's also true with Arena. There's really toxic people in the Arena community too.
Yeah.
And so I think this, aside from the whatever Posi-Vibes is trying to do for the RPG community, I think one of the biggest accomplishments that something like that can do is try to dispel this myth that everything in the RPG community is just bad. Because I think that in a lot of ways it deters people from playing RPGs, is that they hear stories of how there's all this cheating and all these jerks who are just gonna make fun of me and hack me, whatever it is. And I think that's far from the case. And so I think it's great that there's this effort to try to illuminate the good sides of RPGs, because there's certainly more good people in RPGs than there are bad people. I mean, unfortunately, with a lot of things in life, the small minority of obnoxious people kind of tend to tarnish the bigger goals and aspirations of an entire community. So I think that's certainly the case with RPGs, and I think it's good to sort of have ways to dispel this myth for sure.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I think positivity is about the only way you'll get rid of that, or at least minimize the cancerous nature of that small yet very toxic nature.
Yeah, well, it's like you'll never truly get rid of every toxic person playing a video game.
Nope.
Right. And it's like that's not what we or anybody else, ever aims to do. Like you understand, like there will be toxic players who play the game.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if you want to play RPGs, you shouldn't have to settle with, oh, I have to deal with their toxicity because this is the only way to play RPGs. These are the only people that play RPGs. Oh, this is the only team playing at this rating that will take me. Or this is the only team playing at this rating, so I have to deal with, X, Y, and Z in order to do part of the game that I love. And that's one thing that we really, want to give people options. Like you don't have to play with these toxic players, or you don't have to be a toxic player to be good at the game too. Like that's the thing, right? We've got take for example our a CAC, right? One of the guys on our stream team, and actually, like our founder, really, CAC he's a 4-time rank 1, but not just rank 1. He's been like number 1 on the ladder, right? This is somebody who plays the game at the highest level, but he's not a toxic person, right? Now he has his moments. I have my moments. We all have our moments too, but it's like how we deal with those moments and try to move forward. We recognize, yeah, that was toxic. I'm sorry, and move forward. But that's just the whole message here, man. Like, you don't have to be like, you can be good at this game and be a good person. Like, you're allowed. It's okay.
Just stay a while and listen.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that was half of Mop was just telling people to calm the F down.
Yeah. No, I remember Mop. Everybody said Mop was the end of WoW because pandas, and then turned out to be a great expansion.
It was a great expansion.
I remember that. Everybody kept just screaming dead game. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? There's millions of people playing this. It's a great expansion. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's another topic. We won't get into that. But anyways, what I said at the start here, we officially announced that we've created the stream team, and we're not just like, we are a group of friends, a group of like-minded individuals, but we're more than that. Like, we're actually trying to do something, right? We're making this into, I don't want to say a business, because it's not like we're here to like farm money. It's not like at all what it is, right? I mean, we are streamers, we need money to live, but at the end of the day, we're here to make this into something, like make it into an organization, right?
Okay.
So like the official stream team has been created, myself being a partner, right? So you can go to my channel, you can go to any of our channels, and you can see the team Posi-Vibes Gaming. Right, so we've got that officially announced. We've got our Discord. We've got a website that's up and running now too. We're still working on it. We're still working out the kinks, but it is live. Posi-Vibes.gg. So we're working on that. We've got a lot of different things in the works. We even here coming up on the reason none of us can compete in Flark's tournament on the 11th as much as we want to, is that we're actually all, for the first time, going to do our IRL meetup. It's going to be our first time. We're all meeting up in LA for
neat.
there's an event that's happening, right? It's the Secret Cinema Arcane. It's a League of Legends thing. We all like to play League of Legends together off stream sometimes.
Okay. Okay.
But
That's awesome.
but yeah, no, it's we're meeting up. We've got everything officially running. We've got the website up and going. We're trying to make a run of it, and whether we can be full-time streamers, whether we have to be part-time, like this is our goal that we're reaching towards, is that we start by making a difference in the RBG community, but what we really like, the big goal is to make a difference in the gaming community for like a positive change. Is that in any game, whether it's WoW, whether it's League, whether it's anything, you don't have to be a toxic player to be good at the game. And in order to play the game, you don't have to be a toxic player. So that's kind of what we're trying to combat this idea of the cheating, the elitism, and the lack of respect amongst fellow gamers in however we can.
Nice. I like it. I like that a lot. Sorry. It's a whole bunch there I had to unpack for a second.
Yes. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. So the Posi-Vibes, obviously that was the term used. It kind of developed the community. I know that you guys had like your own Discord and that for stuff, and now you've moved into the Posi-Vibes stream team with its own website and that. Now, is this to help also? This is to garner people to watch yourselves play the game, but also to try to and demonstrate a positive mentality while gaming competitively and not falling into some of those toxic traps, if I understand correctly. Now, so I'm listening to this right now, and I go to posivibes.gg, right? What will I see there? What would that take me to?
Well, so right now, like we're still working on the website. If you were to go there right now, it would basically just give you stream schedules. But we're trying to build it out, right? Like I've got guides on YouTube. We've got other guides that are in the works for making. We're working on, like whether it's be written or video guides. We're working on different ways where you can interact with, myself and the other Posi-Vibers. And, we even have it in our Discord where if you want to submit a VOD, we can review the VOD and tell you like what you could have done better.
Cool.
Right?
Wow.
But yeah, as far as the website is, again, it's a work in progress. We hope to have it up by the New Year's. It's kind of our, like crossing our fingers. But, if we don't get it by then, we just keep chugging. We keep working. Yeah. That's the goal.
Keep grinding.
And until then, say someone wanted to participate in the Posi-Vibe RPGs, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, the best way would to be join the Discord, right? Because the Discord, you get the notifications of when we go live, and then I would say follow all of the streams that are associated with the, myself, CAC, Easy Game, and Dean, right? So anytime we're live, we may be doing other content, but we're more than likely going to be doing Posi-Vibes RPGs. Okay. So those are two ways that I would say. I mean, you can follow us on Twitter, right? I post every time we're going live, and so if you're looking to get in, you want to play with the Posi-Vibers, then you can follow on the Twitter, follow on the Twitch, and then you can join our Discord as well.
Nice.
And then we always, especially on our Discord, we always announce our events, right? Like we just had boot camp, right? We just had Posi-Vibes boot camp, which basically it's a sign up. We take as many people as we can, but we take like some people who are around the same CR. Like for this first boot camp class, we took people around the 18 to 1900 bracket. And our goal was we're going to take these like 5, 6, 7 players, and we know they want to improve. We know that we can help them in certain ways and that they can become better players. but they just need like a little extra work. They need a little extra, hey, let me check your rotation. Hey, let me check, when this happens, what do you do? Right. And so the boot camp, we've been doing our regular viewer RBGs, but we've been taking this specific group on a set schedule, like week to week to week. And we have helped them with some of the helps from the Posi-Vibes, and we've helped them to go from at start we were fighting at 1900 MMR, and I think we just did the graduation for the first class of the Posi-Vibes boot camp on the day that they won a game at 2450 MMR. Wow. So these guys went from 1800 players that have never fought these teams up in these brackets to they're beating 2400 teams, right? Wow. And again, it's these players, they just needed, they're good. They really are. They just need a little bit of extra care, right? And that's what we try to do for everybody. But the boot camp is basically like viewer RBG on steroids, right? In a viewer RBG, I can watch you. I can watch what you do, how you rotate. Did you press dome? Did you press pain sup? Yeah. But I can't really I can't really micromanage, all of the players on the team, because I've got a shot call. I've got to make sure all of us are doing what we need to do. I got to make sure the tank's doing what he needs to do. I got to make sure our base sitters, all of that stuff. But in the boot camp, we have all of us, right? All of the Posi-Vibes who are dedicated to sitting there. Like for one of the days we did it, I didn't even play a single game. I just sat in spectate mode. We went into some war games, and I just sat in spectate mode on Gilneas and watched while people were trying to defend their base. And we talked about, hey, when he does this, you need to do that. When he opens with the smoke bomb, well, you need to know the cooldown on smoke bomb, or not the cooldown. You need to know how long smoke bomb is on the ground, but you also need to know how many seconds it takes to cap a base, right? So if he presses smoke bomb and then starts capping, well, you don't need to run into that smoke bomb, because smoke bomb will dissipate before he caps. You just need to be ready to spin the base. So it's like those little things, right? So when you put people in like our boot camp, they can really we can really focus on improving them as players. And on our Discord, if we are doing another boot camp here really soon, so if anybody's interested in being a part of the boot camp, right? Discord, Twitch, Twitter, all of those things.
Cool. So I have to ask. So how would you delineate the difference between what you're talking about there and what you see? I guess the common complaints you see sometimes in social media, Reddit, even on the forums about these rank ones doing viewer games down in low brackets, and how people are like, oh, this sucks. I'm up against a Glad. And I'm just getting Rovel stomped. This sucks and stuff. So what's the difference, I'd say, from what you're talking about there and that? Is it similar, different?
Real quick, is there something going on with my camera? I'm looking at you see it, right?
Yeah, my internet's a potato right now.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't me, because I'm like looking at like my camera thing. I'm like, is there something something on my lens or?
Dude, you're tripping, dude. It's real life, man.
The background's all purple, man.
Yeah. Dude, man, you gotta lay off those shrooms from Korthia, man. Whoa.
Yeah, dude.
Whoa. Hey, these Korthia berries taste like Korthia berries.
No, I have to apologize, people. My internet's being a bit of a potato tonight, so dropping some frames and a few other things. I'm not sure why, but we'll truck on. We'll keep doing it.
But so to answer your question, like, what is the difference between what we're doing and when you're on your alt, or somebody who is just getting in is fighting a bunch of glads at 1700.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the difference is like we're not fighting at 1700, right? Like when we usually do our viewer RBGs, where we are bringing them up. Now we're not fighting like at the 24, 2500, like the top end of the bracket where like our tournament team and where like a lot of our top end players play at.
Mm-hmm.
But we are fighting at like 2100, 22, sometimes up to 2400 rating, right? So we're basically taking those players who are used to playing at the 1700 bracket,
yeah,
and we're bringing them to a higher bracket, so that way, you know, they can learn how these players play. How do they rotate? How are we supposed to rotate? How are you supposed to, you know, deal with this sort of thing? And then like what you're talking about is like a bunch of glads who are at 1700 MMR. Well, I would say that sounds like I mean that you could talk about boosting. Right now, there are people who get paid to do boosting, and what they do in RBGs is they you know, they'll get 10 people and they'll queue up and they'll be at 2k MMR, and then the gates will open and then they'll leave the game. And then the next game, the gates will open, they'll leave the game until this group of players who are all capable of playing at 2400, all their tunes are 1800 CR, their MMR is now 1600, and then they get that person who you know paid for it in, and they just get win on win on win on win. Now, this has been, for lack of a better word, a plague on the RBG bracket since ever since I started doing RBGs in MOP. But I know in BFA, ever since like the start of BFA, it's really been kind of annoying for a lot of people like me who do viewer RBGs when we queue in, because everybody gets excited. Oh, it's a free win. Yeah, it's a free win. You get CR, but here's the thing: is what these guys are doing is artificially inflating the MMR. So you may be happy about your 2K. You know, this X team who, you know, not playing with viewers, or not playing with the Posi-Vibes, not playing with, you know, these glads, and, you know, maybe they belong at the 1900 bracket, but now their MMR has been artificially inflated, and now they're fighting 2100 team after 2100 team after 2100 team, and they just get rolled game after game after game, and they don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
They don't know what are they doing wrong. They should never be, you know, there are teams that are, you know, maybe they're not that good, right? They're just going through the process of growing and learning. They should not be matched up against teams of certain calibers. It's just not really fair. And so like the boosting and the boosting and carry teams, they you know have this kind of plague on the bracket like that.
Okay.
But no, I think what we're doing, we're trying to help people. When somebody leaves our group, they may have higher CR, they may have lower CR. I mean, we lose sometimes too. It's a thing. But when they leave our group, they should be a better player. When you when you queue up against this group of just glads, nobody learns anything.
No,
the glads didn't learn anything. They just hit their buttons and one shot everything, and they didn't learn anything. And then the players who queued into them, they didn't learn anything. Our goal is when people leave our games, they learn something.
I think that's really commendable. I think that's a huge difference. So, sorry, one sec. I'm trying to not sneeze into my microphone here. Big, do you have any questions?
So I guess, do you guys have any big plans for any sort of maybe tournaments that you might host through Posi-Vibes? Do you have any big events that you might be planning in the future, or what's next for Posi-Vibes?
Well, we did just talk about the boot camp, right? And so we're going to be starting our next round of boot camp here soon. I don't have a date yet because we're still with the meetup coming in a few days, and we're still ironing out a few details as far as when the next boot camp's going to happen. But we've all agreed. I mean, we took a group of 1,800 players, and they were able to win at 2,400. We absolutely love doing it every step of the way as well. So coming up next, we can expect more boot camps, more viewer RBGs as much as we can. We're trying to get this website up and going so that way we can put out guides And now, I've got a bunch of guides on YouTube, but we don't have any like Posi-Vibes specific guides because like everybody's heard me. Everybody's heard me on YouTube and talk about X, Y, and Z. But I think it's also important to have some of our expertise, such as like CAC and Easy Game and Dean. They've never made YouTube videos before, and these are some of the the best players in my opinion in all of RBGs. And I think the value that we're gonna get from all of everything we can do and just how much we can teach people is just off the charts. But and other than that, we do want to host an RBG tournament. We just don't know the logistics of it, right? So like, I want to say we want to, but I don't want to sit here and tell you like, oh, we plan, next month we want to do this, or like we need to work out the logistics of it, right? So like, I can't sit here and say, bank on the Posi-Vibes RBG tournament coming next month. No, but bank on maybe a Posi-Vibe RBG tournament coming soon. But you can bank on more 1v1 tournaments because I run those and I love those. 1v1 tournaments are I just love 1v1 tournaments. They're just super fun to me. Now all the Posi-Vibers, they do help me as well. Like we've had co-host, right, co-commentary. Easy Games helped me, CAX helped me. But as far as like tournaments in the future, bank on maybe an RBG tournament happening at some point, and definitely another 1v1 tournament coming soon. Which the last one, oh man, the last one was great. It was a good time, really was.
Indeed. I don't want to talk too much about the 1v1 because we'll get into that in the news in a bit. But yeah, I love what you guys are doing here. I really do. I guess I just have to ask one, like, so there's a number of PvP communities. It seems like everybody's kind of given up on having a PvP guild per se, and everybody's gone to like just do communities. That way, people, because people had, it was a natural progression, right? People went from guilds to just BTAG and BNet grouping to now third party communities and that. Would you say, obviously, so there's a positive outlook, this positive mentality, the positive support, if you will, and with that, like the coaching and the free reviews and all the stuff you can try to do to the boot camps to help people learn and improve themselves. I guess first and foremost is that I know that there's some other communities that don't do all that. So I think, would you say that is what is making Posi-Vibes completely different, or like that whole step above all these other communities and what they're trying to do of just have a bunch of people together? Or would you say that you're similar to those, but I don't know, but more? It kind of sounds like I'm talking in a circle here, but
yeah, no, I think I get what you're asking, right? Like what makes Posi-Vibes like a little bit different than some of these other PvP communities.
I think I just answered that actually, though.
Yeah. No, aside from like what we've already stated, which is like everything we do, our community is like, it's growing day by day, and like you talked about the natural progression from guilds to communities to all this stuff. Well, we've got multiple, like we're not just at one in-game community. We've got multiple in-game communities. We've got the Discord. We're more than, because I think it has a limit of 1,000 people you could have in that. Right. And we're talking about having to create a third community here soon for like the in-game community. So we've got a lot of people who are interested in this, in this thing we call Posi-Vibes. And another thing I will say, and I want to make this, sorry, big word for a Marine here, differentiation. I want to make this differentiation between like us and like some of the other communities. So we've got some players in here that are just absolutely like, look, I'm a good player. Like, I'm a multi-glad. I've got my hero as well, but like I don't hold a candle compared to like we've got like Gilly. If some of you guys know Gillisel, currently the rank 1 and like I think rank run and number 4 on the entire North American ladder, right? And
wow,
if he, and if somebody just wants to learn how to play Resto Druid, all they got to do is just join up with one of our fewer RBGs, and you've got arguably the best Resto Druid in the world currently right there. Like,
wow.
to add, like, hey, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
And I will say I've been a member of the in-game guild on Tichondrous. Hey, I'm MVP.
Yeah.
And there's a big like prestige that comes with being a part of like, hey, I'm MVP, and it's like it's been a thing for a long time. But I remember when I first joined a long time ago, there was a thing like, hey, have a good time, be a part of the guild, don't bother the pro players.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of the mentality that I think a lot of these other communities, and if they do have like players at a certain caliber, the mentality is like, hey, these guys are here, you see them, if they talk to you, whatever, but like, don't bother them, right? Like, don't ask them if you're doing your rotation right. Don't ask them, if they want to come to your RBG, or don't ask them to do a Torghast run, or like that sort of thing. And I would say another thing that makes us different is even off stream, man. We do stuff with our community all the time, and it's not just me, it's not just CAC, it's all of us. Like,
cool.
The community chat, like, it's just I can't keep up with it, man.
That's awesome. All right. I have one last question. I'm not sure if Big has any others, but how do you keep the toxicity out and the inclusivity in?
So the inclusivity is an easier part of that question, because inclusivity is, well, somebody wants to play, you play with them, right? When somebody queues up to my viewer or CAC's viewer or anybody's games, they always ask, and it's without fail, they always come in the chat and they're like, hey, is there a minimum CR requirement, or hey, is there a minimum gear or this or that? And we obviously want you to be max level and have some decent gear, right? Like, we can't bring you to a 2100 RBG if you hit 60 2 minutes ago. Like, you're not gonna have a good time. We're not gonna have a good time. It's just that's just how it goes. But we don't care what anybody's CR is, anybody's XP is. Like, whether you're 1200, whether this is your first RBG ever, we're there to help people. Is what we all know why we're there. We're there to help people. We don't, at the end of the day, and I always tell this to people, right? As far as the inclusivity, is that I don't care if we win the game. I don't care if we lost the game. I care that my viewers, they play to their best potential, right? They try to play as well as they can. And if your best as you can is you lose that base, or your best as you can is, you can only do X amount of damage in the team fight, then that's fine. But if your best as you can, or it is, you can do this, but then you're AFK on Twitter checking your phone while your base is getting capped on, like, hey, man, come on.
That don't happen to be once. Come on, man. Why you got to go there?
Yeah, but
on my own stream, man. Oh.
Never happened, I swear.
No. I was never looking at the map and got capped on, ever.
Now, looking at the map is okay, right? Like, I can understand people that are looking at the map. like I just don't understand. Like I've watched some people be looking at the guy capping their flag and not spin him, and then try to tell me afterwards when I'm like, hey man, like let's talk about it. Like, how did you lose your base? And he's like, oh, I saw him capping it, but I didn't want to come out of stealth because he would see me. Like, wait. Huh?
Okay.
I don't know. Some people, they just need a little bit more help than others. And like the important part is like I didn't yell at the guy. I'm not like, you know, hey man, you're stupid. Like all this. Like no, like that is not what we're about.
Yeah.
But I had to be like, hey man, like you know the point is to not lose your base, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, but I didn't want to. Yeah. So, anyways, as far as the inclusivity, that's the easy.
It's getting
that's
over that
the easy part of it.
Helping somebody get over those little mind humps, those little obstacles in their own brain that changes decision making. So,
well, I mean, that just backs up. Like I told you, like we will, like it. It doesn't matter if you're 2400 XP or this is like literally your first RBG. We will play with you. That's fine. Like obviously we don't get a chance to play with everybody, right? When we start an RBG group and we have 3 spots and 20 people queue up, like we can't take everybody.
Yeah.
But you know, we're not sorting people like, oh, we're gonna play with this guy instead of this guy because he's higher XP. Like, no, that's not how that works.
No.
But as far as sorry, if you had anything to say there,
I just want to, just in case anybody's wondering, if anybody go, I'm not even sure if it's still up on our feed or not, but go back to like one of our first episodes. We're talking to Billy Poo, and he was talking about how he used to do RBGs before he got into high ranked AWC stuff, and he was a hunter, so he was defending base, and he got capped on because he was alt tabbed out, and so rank 1, rank none doesn't matter. Yeah, you still get capped on. You just gotta live and get past it.
That's life, man. You get capped on in life sometimes, and you just gotta deal with it. You live and you learn.
Exactly.
It's cue next game, pretty much.
Yep. Just hey, what could you done better? Okay, now you know. Let's move on.
Yeah. Don't sit in stealth and be afraid somebody's gonna see you. That's a good life lesson right there. I'm kind of out of questions though. Big, do you have any other questions?
No, but there's one thing we typically ask all of our guests, and it's it's an open-ended question. There's no wrong answer, but say you're given unlimited resources, just you could change one thing about the game or the community, anything, WoW related. Try to keep it WoW related. So say you could change one thing about WoW, the RBG community, whatever it is. What would that one thing be?
So I know you guys asked this to everybody, and I was thinking about this for a while. And what one thing would I change as far as like WoW goes? So I love RBGs. I love Arena too, but I really love RBGs, and I would change just a title for RBGs, and this is what I'm talking about. Is that we have the Unchained Gladiator, right? Is the rank 1 for this season? I would say you put just like you did for Mythic Plus, put a rank 1 title, not just Hero of the Horde, right? Hero of the Horde, I think, is like equivalent to Gladiator, right? You can wear it. Well, actually, no, it's not, because Gladiator is seasonal, and Hero of the Horde it's on forever. But like, it's just Hero of the Horde. There's nothing saying you got this season or you got this in MOP, right? So the one thing I would change is that make a rank 1 title for RBGs, but don't make it the same title as Arena, because there needs to be, right? You can't give them both the same title. That'd be like giving RBG players a Glad mount. Like, no, that's a different part of the game. I would say Unchained Gladiator, Unchained Gladiator rank 1 title. RBGer, Unchained Hero. That's what Unchained Hero of the Horde, Unchained Hero of the Alliance. That's one thing that I would advocate for as a change.
All right. So add seasonal 0.1% titles to RBGs, just like they have for Arena. All right, that's a good one.
I like it.
Yeah, I have one. Unless Big, do you have one on top of your head you want to give?
Oh, changes?
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, you know it's just I give the same answer every time. Right? I think really any sort of play button for World of Warcraft is the ability to create a new character and just have instant access to play the competitive format of the game. Any way that would be possible, that's what I want. Just some way where you don't have to grind renown, don't have to do any of this stuff. You can just have a fully geared character ready for you at your disposal. That's my biggest change. That's what I want.
All right. I would like cross-faction rated play.
That's a good one.
If they're going to change one thing about rateds, I would like to be able to queue up on my dwarf priest with Barnes, blood elf, demon hunter, and go. It doesn't really matter anyways. I mean, half the time you're playing horde versus horde or alliance versus alliance anyways. So why don't we at least team up together and gain rating? Screw the fantasy.
There you go.
Right. Okay. Well, on that, let's look into what the most recent PvP news is and roll this out.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
Yes, Millhouse. Who opened up that extra large can of whoop ass? I'd say, well, we talked about it earlier. We were trying to figure out when Oasis did their Mythic Plus dungeon. That was just on the weekend between the 3rd and the 5th. The Keystone Builders Tournament. Huge congrats to Team Chile for taking first place and pushing the highest score on that. Quick link to the Raider IO because they were also one of the partners on that tournament. And that was an amazing tournament. If anybody hasn't checked it out, go watch the VODs. Highly recommend it. These teams they started with +2 key, and then they had to just to push through it. There were some amazing timers that were done. One team was doing a tank and 4 DPS. Some other teams were doing typical healer tank 3 DPS. And it was really neat. So what they did, they had 2 hours. Every time they timed a dungeon, they were given a score, and then it was a cumulative score over that. But then they had the opportunity, they could decide if they wanted to, let's say, when they got to like +15s or higher, if they wanted to push faster and kind of try to push the mathematics, they could deplete the key a little bit and knock it down a few. So there was a couple times where they had like, I think they had there's a +17 was the key they got, and they went and depleted and then ran like a 12 and stuff like that. So it was interesting. But when they went over the timer they had a 2-hour timer with a grace period of 15 minutes. And for every second over 2 hours, they lost 2 points off their score.
Ooh.
So then it was this really interesting mathematical exercise the players had to put through to try to figure out what they were going to do or not. And there's actually one team, they were on the last boss of, I want to say, Halls of Atonement, and their 15-minute timer ran out, and they lost all the score that had been progressing on that key. Yeah,
Feels bad, man.
Oh, it was, but that's the thing. It added the excitement to the whole thing. It was great. So yeah. So highly recommend. Go check it out. It was really, really, really well done. A quick shout out actually to our friend here at Warcraft Radio, Kexman, because he was one of the hosts on that. And literally over the weekend, he was on camera for about 36+ hours.
Wait, that Kexman, that's the guy with the beard, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I knew I recognized him. I knew I recognized that beard from somewhere.
Yeah, he's been casting quite a number of shows, number of tournaments, and he was casting that one. So yeah, definitely anchored the whole tournament. Next one, actually, Big. Did you catch the next one there?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. So GCD hosted a TBC Classic 5v5 arena tournament over the weekend, and for both EU and NA. And we had one player win on both regions. So on EU, we had a team called Noob Slayers, which is Chanimal, Mirlol, Drainer, and Raikou. They won in the EU region. And in North America, Team Kubzi won, which is Snuts, Sam I Am, Toes, Cubsy, and also Chanimal. So Chanimal won the 5v5 tournament on both regions, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that's ever happened in anything WoW related before.
I don't think so. That was amazing.
Pretty impressive.
But it was really cool. TBC is really, really interesting. If you're out there and you haven't watched any TBC arena in tournament, it's really, really exciting because oftentimes cross kills happen in arena, and the game isn't over when one person dies. And in fact, I think there was a game where someone even got a res off in 5v5. So there's a lot of exciting things that happen. And I consider myself a washed up 5v5 hero. I miss 5v5 so much. And wow, like watching these tournaments brought me back a little bit to that feeling of playing the format. And I think hopefully they can reintroduce something like that for normal retail WoW, because I would love to have some fives back again. It's a really fun bracket, and obviously in tournament it's really, really exciting, and really overall great competition from both regions.
I wonder what 5v5 retail would look like.
Oh,
what would that look like?
I don't know. I don't know, but I would be for it, man. That was my first. I remember, man, my first years and years ago. The first time I ever got over 2K in any sort of rated was in fives, and I as soon as I hit it, I got that achievement. I got that elite set, man. I jumped up. I was so excited. You would think I just hit the lottery, right? I was yelling, I was screaming. My dad's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, "I just hit 2K." He's like, "What does that mean?" Like, I can't explain it to you.
I was waiting.
But yeah,
for that.
no,
That's awesome,
I would definitely be okay.
Awesome. That's awesome. I have to ask. So there's another tournament that happened on Friday. Barn, do you catch that tournament at all? Do you know
I may have been there. I have to remember what I was doing on Friday, but I may have been around.
Yeah.
But,
okay, go. I'll let you take that one.
No, my 1v1 tournament. Now, I every now and then I try not to do them too close together, but I hold a 1v1 tournament, and it's basically your classic, like, dueling tournament, but it's brought up. I try to bring the production value up to the level of, as best I can, that is, to the level of like an AWC, a GCD tournament. Right, so I make sure it's done in war games. You've got the spectate mode. We're on a arena map, right? You're on the Dalaran sewers. You're on the Ruins of Lordaeron. You're doing a true 1v1, but it's not just like it's not just a 1v1 in front of Duratar to test your cooldown. It's not just like, yo, come 1v1 me in front of Orgrimmar, man. No, it's not that. This is a 1v1 for $500, right? And that's what it was. Is if $500 was the prize pool, winner take all to the winner, who for this one it turned out to be a Necro Feral named Chartborg, and ended up winning it all. Right. And so it was a good time, right? We had almost every class represented. We had warriors who came out. We had demon hunters. We had warlocks, mages. We had, and as far as like who's won the tournament, I know everybody will say, "Oh, you're just giving it to Reds or just giving it to Ferals." Well, we've had a big pool of players who have done very well at these tournaments, right? We've had Windwalkers do very well. We had a Rogue win. We've had Ferals win. We've had Boomies, right? We've had a lot of different people who've come out and really like played their hearts out. And I mean, when you watch these guys like play the 1v1, it's so crazy. Like we had Chalman come out, who, if you don't know who Chalman is, he's currently one of the highest rated Rets in the 3v3 ladder right now. And he a multi-rank one, and he on his Ret had to fight a hunter, and like a good hunter. And I have never seen just a crazier matchup before. This hunter was because you know, like, this isn't just a like, oh, it's a normal duel. This is a $500 duel, for lack of like a better term for it.
Mhm.
So these players are playing. This hunter is kiting for his life,
Yep.
and Chauvin the Ret is just, every single global is just word of glory, just running around, being like absolute wheelchair in the middle of the arena, just trying desperately to touch this hunter for like 10 minutes, man.
Just trying to
And
contact. Yeah.
and it literally, it takes him like 10 minutes just to touch this hunter. But the moment he does, he places cards perfectly right and ends up getting the kill.
Yeah.
But it's just so crazy. These matches get so intense. We did have a Feral versus Feral grand finals, but it was
so
it was crazy. It wasn't. I thought Dippy, if you guys know, Dippy was the other Feral who fought Chart Morgan, and Dippy was like a far more experienced Feral. Everybody thought Dippy was gonna win. And Chart Morgan, now he's a 2400 player, but I think Dippy is a rank 1 as well. So like the odds were stacked in his favor, but Chart Morgan ended up taking it. And
I think Dippy posted a picture on Twitter where he had the opponent at 1% or something.
Yeah.
Like narrowly lost.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was in my chair screaming when I was commentate that, like he had to have been at less than like 200 health.
Yeah,
total.
It was so close. It was so close. It was, yeah. I was going for Dippy to win too. I thought Dippy said that he was missing a trinket though. I thought he said he was.
It was a trinket. There was a difference in trinket. Now,
Yeah.
Chart Morgan, I think, had the shackle, and I think Dippy was running the badge, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
So is a difference in like he could throw the shackle, but Dippy always had the roar for the shackle. Like he specifically saved that roar. So basically it was I don't want to say it was a zero value on the trinket, because he that roar was always saved for it, but that was basically a 1-for-1 trade-off. Like you press shackle, I press roar. Instant.
Yeah, it was instant. Well, again, so that's over on your Twitch channel, right? That's over on the Twitch / Barndoor.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. All right.
2 O's and 2 R's.
$R. All right. And I'm trying to think what else is going. Oh, hot fixes. So couple hot fixes have been coming out lately. The Druid Thorns, apparently there was a small issue with it, so it now properly slows, and some of the damage it gives off is appropriate. Especially probably some bug there somewhere. Over on the Classic, Burning Crusade Classic, greater and lesser rune warding no longer activates in the arena if it was applied before entering. So I guess you can't apply it and then it still be there. So you have to wait until after the door is open and then you can apply it. Kind of makes sense. So I don't know if you guys remember, 915 dropped. They talked about some of the issues and the fixes they did. The Mage's Triune Ward was supposed to be nerfed slightly, and 915 dropped, and apparently the nerf didn't go through. So they apparently have now actually fixed that. Apparently there was a small bug. It wasn't properly being, or the nerf wasn't being applied in PvP, but they have fixed that now versus via hotfixes. Shattering Throw has been nerfed. Apparently, it was dealing extra damage beyond the absorb shield when it broke the absorbs. I think we who saw all the clips on WoW highlights and WoW Daily of people doing 100K shattering throws.
The 100K shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, my buddy Mystical, he's a Mistweaver, and he has been victim of plenty of those.
Yes, he has. As has a number of other people in the arena. And trying to think what else. Oh, prop helis. They just got nerfed, apparently.
Oh, I need me an amen for that one. Oh man. I am so glad Prop Pelly's got nerfed. I don't mean to be biased here, but oh my gosh, thank you.
Well, so yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, it was announced in the hot fixes at server reset. The Word of Glory was going to be nerfed by 80%, or the healing the Word of Glory does to another player is nerfed by 80%. So if I understand this is so if I'm a prop Pelly and I'm playing with you, Barn, and you're down, if I go to Word of Glory, that heal is nerfed by 80%. I don't know if the nerf that I do to myself is nerfed. So it's a little bit different there.
It's the healing hands talent, I think, that got nerfed, or whatever it is called for pro. I think that's what was changed. Hand of the Protector. So I think that is what got hotfixed, actually. So I don't think it matters who the prot uses it on. I think it's just that talent specifically got nerfed to PvP. But
yes, you are okay. That. Sorry. Yep, I looked. So actual wordage: Word of Glory's additional healing on friendly targets provided by the Hand of the Protector talent has been reduced by 80% when engaged in PvP combat. Okay, so it's not actually the Word of Glory; it's the additional healing from the Hand of Protector. So yeah, that sucks. I thought I totally read that differently the first time I read that. Well,
it just means it's that talent is just worse. Yeah. Like, that's kind of a default. Red Paladins have a very similar talent called Healing Hands, and it's pretty much a default pick. I don't know if they ever play without it. So if anything, they'll just make prop Paladins play a different talent. I don't know how much worse this is going to make their healing, actually. I know people were kind of excited about this change, but
yeah,
if they can just swap to a different talent and kind of have a slightly more difficult time healing, I don't think it's really going to change too much, but who knows? Who knows?
I did see a screenshot earlier today showing a prop Pally had done 2.4 million healing in a threes, which was slightly less than their healer.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Is like, who knows if this is actually going to be that that much of a change? But it's a step in the right direction at the very least.
Well, so I guess this is the weird part. My stance is, I think any class should be able to play, or any spec should be able to play in PvP. Not every spec should be glad viable in PvP. But I don't think a DPS or a protection or a tank should be able to exceed the DPS. So a tank shouldn't be able to out heal a dedicated healer or out DPS a dedicated DPS. Just like a DPS shouldn't be able to off heal and outdo the actual dedicated healer. Does that make sense?
It's like the argument of when you look at like prop pally like representation, there are more prop pallies at a higher rating than certain like classes of like DPS, like namely like if you look, demon hunters and warlocks are, from what I remember, like the most underrepresented classes at higher rated like threes. There are still demon hunters and warlocks there, but when you look at like the numbers, they're underrepresented. Okay, I can't talk. Underrepresented. But when you look at like games played in the past 30 days or the past 60 days, and you look at games between like 2400 and 3K or 3200 MMR, there's more games played with prop pallies in them than there are with demon hunters. And so I think in a world where you would rather take a prop pally instead of a DPS, like I don't like that world, you know? Like I think, if you want to play prot, sure, but somebody else making a team shouldn't say, I want the prot instead of the demon hunter.
Yeah.
Or I want the prot instead of the warlock, because because this tank class is better at DPSing and better at healing than X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I saw you're on that conversation there, Big, with Revo on Twitter, where he was saying that the problem is when you have a tank class that has, can heal, has 3 immunities plus 1 for their friends or whatever, and can also bring along a dedicated healer along with them. Like that's a bit of an issue, right?
I really think the easiest solution will just be you can either have one healer or one tank on your team, and I think they're doing something similar for the solo queue brawl. I think they have some sort of comp limitations, like when the matchmaking is doing its thing.
Yeah,
I think you cannot have a healer and a tank on the same team.
I don't think you can have a tank. I think it's just DPS heals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I swear, I don't know about that. I thought tanks were included for some reason. But anyway, I think that would be the simplest solution to any problem is just consider them healers. Because like I really have no issue with people playing Prot as a dedicated healer in a 3v3 match.
Yeah.
Like I know Drainer does that in tournament.
He did.
And I think that's like relatively interesting, but I think what people really get upset about is when you get like a Prot Paladin, you put him with an Arms Warrior and a Resto Shaman in threes, you have a healer that has an infinite mana bar, and you basically have two incredibly tanky melee with lots of utility, and the games are just going to be really long and drawn out, and the Prot is able to do a lot of healing, but not enough damage to where the game ends quickly. It creates these really long games that can be incredibly frustrating to play against, and I think that's the problem. I don't think it's protection, or I don't think it's tanks and as a role. I think it's just the fact that they can play with healers that makes the problem.
So, I agree. And well, I'm actually kind of disappointed because I thought they actually just nerfed Word of Glory in total, but I guess nerfing the talent, nerfing the bonus to healing is still better than just letting it be. Interesting to see what happens on the ladder now. We'll see. 9.2 data mining carried on with some dev news. So we talked about this last episode. There were some concerns from the data mining of what the Season 3 glide melt was looking like it was going to be. The devs turned around and have announced that just to alleviate everybody's concerns, the Season 3 Gladiator mount is going to be the red version, not the slightly it was like gray,
I don't know.
Gray to like not so gray but almost gray. Anyway,
LaCroix teal is the way I referred to it.
Either way, it's the red one. It fits very similar to the red MDI mount that they're going to bring in, so it makes sense that it's more even. Plus, there's a few more trinkets that were added to 9.2. They're up on the PTR now. I'd say they're causing a bit of a stir. There's a bunch of people that were theory crafting about them on Twitter. I think you did a discussion about this big, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I honestly don't think they're that insane. People are just freaking out. Like, I think what tends to happen in WoW is people think of like the worst case scenario for something. They don't really. My criticism, I think the trinkets aren't. First of all, I'll say this: I don't think the trinkets are good for the game. I think in a perfect world, there would only be the medallion trinket. That would be the only CC trinket in the game. But I kind of like the flavor that the trinkets add, and I understand that they're slightly problematic with very specific interactions, but I was playing with the trinket, even the unnerfed one on the PTR, and I didn't think it was that amazing. Like, I was doing the Convoke thing. I was using it with Convoke, so I'd be immune to interrupt and CC during my Convoke, and I honestly didn't feel like it was that great, because after that, if that fails, you're just kind of screwed the rest of the game. But I understand the concerns people had, but luckily it was nerfed. It used to take it used to absorb 3 CCs before the effect would end and last 30 seconds. Now it only absorbs 2 and lasts 15. I think the duration part of it is could be toned down even more to like 8 seconds or something. But I like the trinkets actually. I don't think they're that amazing. So
can I ask a question about these trinkets real quick?
Yeah.
For you, Big. So these trinkets, are are they in place of like that medallion, or are you
Yeah.
allowed to have them with the medallion?
No, they're unique. So just like you can't have medallion or relentless, they're
Okay.
unique to the medallion slot. So you lose your medallion if you play these trinkets.
Okay. So yeah, I don't think they're maybe as game breaking as everybody's kind
Mhm.
of talking about. My thought is that if you're allowed to have your medallion trinket and this, it might get a little bit, you know, basically fighting RMP is going to feel impossible.
And that's why I think they're good for human. If you're playing human, they're probably insane. But if you're not playing human, then it's whatever.
Yeah.
As I think you're at a disadvantage. Human racial is just way too good. I think that's what I kind of decided from my deep meditation about these trinkets, that human racial is just insane in Arena.
So I want to say I was watching Venruki when he was doing his solo shuffle, and I was watching him as a Windwalker monk trying to stop an affliction lock with that trinket.
Oh yeah,
and it's all instant cast. So there's no, because it interrupts or CC, right?
Yeah.
For 3 charges, and it's all instant cast. So there's nothing to kick. And he doesn't have spammable CC, so there's nothing to do. So he had to sit there.
Yeah.
And then the Warlock popped Unending Resolve after that, so he's recasting again.
Yeah,
He's like,
with Death Bolt and stuff. But here's the thing, like, give the Warlock a trinket. Let them have it. Like, they've suffered enough this expansion. Like,
exactly.
They need something, man.
so that's the thing. Like, I'm thinking my human Warlock is due for a comeback here, because now I got the human racial
good.
plus Unending Resolve plus this trinket. If I can't kill something, there's something wrong with my gameplay.
Yeah, get ready to Death Bolt people.
Hell yeah. I will say on that, sorry, I have to admit, Big, I couldn't find your video. I do have Absurge's linked in there because he did a really good discussion on them, but I will admit his discussion was just purely theory crafting off of the data mining. So maybe if we can find another thing that actually goes over those and actually talks about the gameplay, we'll put that in instead. But yeah, that's the conversation. And I think, like I said, it's PTR. Things can change, so it's not like they're done and done, right? You said at first it was 30. It was 3 and 30 seconds. Now it's 2 and 15 seconds. We'll see what happens at the end, right?
Well, when they came out with the shackle trinket, right? Like initially, didn't they nerf it eventually?
I don't remember how. I don't remember.
Or am I thinking of the Maledict? I might be thinking of like the BFA Maledict, because I know in BFA when they came out with the Maledict, people were like triple stacking them, and then they had to nerf it.
No, the shackle trinket used to be a curse only. So
yeah.
That's right.
That's how they changed it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They made it so more classes could get rid of it. So.
Yep, exactly.
All right. And last but not least, we've been having some reports. So the community council was announced a little while ago. They asked for people to sign up, submit through a form. It looks like they've gone through, started selecting the people they want to have involved on this public-facing forum. Although the forum itself isn't live yet in the forums at least before we started recording it here. But we're starting to see reports over on Twitter, and again, Wowhead reported on this as well, that the invites are starting to go out for people to join. So it's going to go in waves. So if you signed up but you haven't had the calling yet, you haven't got the email, don't fret. It's not that that doesn't mean necessarily you're not selected yet. There's more to come. So, in a month and you haven't received an email, yeah, okay, maybe by then, but not yet. So, all right, that's it for the news. Shout out time. Barndoor. Anybody you want to shout
out? For me, I just really want to shout out everybody there at my team Posi-Vibes, right? My boy Cac, my boy Easy Game, Dean, and our guy Super as well. Super, he's not a streamer, but he's just as much like Posi-Viber as anybody else. He helps us out in the day-to-day. He's always in the viewer RPGs. He's always coaching with us. He's another really good member. And without him, we wouldn't be where we were today. And without him, we wouldn't be going towards where we're going towards. So big shout out to Super and all the guys at the Posi-Vibe community.
I think Super did a 6-month subscription to the channel.
I know he subbed earlier.
Yeah, that must be Super. Okay,
6 months in advance. Wow.
Yeah,
I always forget you can do that in Twitch.
It's awesome. What a nice follow. Big, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out a group of people I haven't thought about in a while. My original server buddies on Burning Blade. I used to be on, when server communities were more of a thing, that was my place, was Burning Blade. And I played with a priest named Christoph, and a shaman named LaPlante, and a mage named Gabe, and we had some fun times. So shout out to the originally Burning Blade homies.
That's awesome. Wow. I can't. I'd be remiss if I could. I can't remember the people I first started playing with now. Actually,
this was like 2011. I just went back in the time machine. I was thinking about the early RPG, the earliest RPGs I've ever played, and I was with those guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so awesome. Well, I'm going to forget who I'm going to try because I'm on the spot now. So I'm just going to thank, everybody who has subscribes to the channel, Warcraft Radio on Twitch, and also the Patreons who supply their hard-earned money over to Warcraft Radio, who help support us and support all the other podcasters under that umbrella. Just really, really serious, heartfelt thank you very much. Although it helps in a way that you probably can't fathom, because it doesn't just help us, it helps this whole community under Warcraft Radio and everything that they do there. I guess Barndoor, I don't think we really said where can our listeners find you? Where are all the spots that they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, first and foremost, they can find me on twitch.tv/Barndoor, 2 O's and 2 R's. Always live on my Twitch. Try to be every day, but things happen. They can find me at Twitter, right? My Twitter handle is Barndoor11. And then they can find me on YouTube as well. YouTube, just 2 O's and 2 R's, right? I have my content up there, as far as guides and funny videos and serious videos and everything. So yeah, the Twitch, the Twitter, the Discord, all of it.
Love it. I love it. All right. Hey, Big, can you list off to everybody where the listeners or to our listeners where they can find us?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP, or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord. Also, you can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at warcraftradio.com. The new directory also features a review system, so head over there and let everyone know what you think of your favorite shows.
Indeed. And as always, links for all these are going to be in the show notes when we publish the audio podcast. I want to thank you all for listening, and we'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.